You're listening to Protecting What Matters by the Ohio Department of Commerce. Commerce is Ohio's chief regulator, and we play a vital role in keeping you safe by protecting your property, your money, and some of the products you use every day. This is designed to bring awareness to important issues and help educate consumers and businesses. Join us as we chat with trusted industry experts focused on providing you with the tools you need to help you protect what matters most in your life.
And what's great is when you sit down to have that initial consultation, whether it's the buyer consultation, the seller consultation, a good advocate for you is going to help you make a strategy, because it's not one size fits all, and not every single seller needs the same thing. Not every single buyer is looking for the same thing. So we sit down and we create a specific strategy for you to be able to move through this process.
You're listening to Protecting What Matters. I'm your host, Brandon Klein at the Ohio Department of Commerce. I'm excited to talk about the important role that licensed real estate professionals play in building and shaping communities across Ohio. And we're going to share some great resources to help you on your home buying or selling journey. We're also going to hear a bit about a new statewide campaign from Ohio Realtors. Joining me today is Allie Whitley, President-elect at Ohio Realtors, the state's largest professional trade association and leading voice for their more than 36,000 members, and Daphne Hawk, Superintendent here at the Ohio Department of Commerce's Division of Real Estate and Professional Licensing. Welcome and thanks for joining me, Allie and Daphne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allie, let's start with you. How long have you been a realtor, and what first drew you to becoming one? And what is your favorite part of the job as you work with clients?
Well, thank you again for having me today. I have been a realtor for 26 years, and what first drew me to it was that my mother was a realtor. My mother, Margaret Hammond, was a realtor when I was young, and I loved the fact that even though she wanted to make sure that she helped all of her clients and she could advocate for people that she was working with, she also really valued her community and her family and was able to be home with us when we needed it. And so moving forward, I was in the restaurant industry and I was working long hours. In the retail industry, I was working long hours, and I could see that this career choice would be an excellent one for being able to advocate for clients, work hard and be effective and efficient, but also be home with family and do the things that are important to me. And as far as my favorite part of the job, I have really enjoyed working with new buyers, first-time buyers, getting them into a home. We work with people in all walks of life, at all different times of their life, purchasing a home or selling a home to help them accomplish a goal that they have, or help them get out of a situation that they're in, that they need, a different situation. And so being able to work with different people every day, whether it's a first-time buyer or long-term owner that's wanting to sell and move into their last home, it's just really rewarding. And being able to do that and having someone trust us with the most important purchase, one of the most important purchases of their life, is really valuable.
Thanks for sharing that, Allie. Daphne, you've had a few careers prior to your superintendent role here, including a career as a licensed real estate professional. Two-part question. As you consider a new career with Commerce, how did you want to help Ohioans, and did you have a favorite part of the job during your realtor days?
Sure. Well, I'll start with the second part, which is what was my favorite part. And I too was a 26-year licensee, a 26-year realtor member before becoming the superintendent here at the Division of Real Estate. And I loved this for all the same reasons that Allie loved, but I also loved teaching new agents. And so that sort of led my career in a little bit different path, in that I loved training new sales agents who came to the brokerage where I was. And then I also then stepped up to teach professional designation courses, many of which are offered by Ohio Association of Realtors, or Ohio Realtors, and NAR. And I taught the accredited buyer rep, which is the ABR. It's all the alphabet soup behind some of the agents' names. I taught a CRS course, which is Certified Residential Specialist. And then I also taught the GRI, which is Graduate of Realtor Institute for Ohio Realtors back then. I taught a couple more, but those are the big ones. And I really loved doing that because it was helpful to help agents try to find a niche in their market and to raise their level of professionalism. And that's one of the ways to do that with the membership at Ohio Realtors is to go ahead and get a professional designation to differentiate yourself from your competitors. And then with regard to my role as the superintendent, our job is to regulate. And so we regulate licensees, and within the real estate section, that is brokers and sales agents. And the good news is the majority of agents do a great job, and there are occasionally those that run afoul of the Ohio Revised Code. But the good news, again, is that even amongst the complaints that we get, that the majority of individuals end up with what we call an NFA, which is a no further action, or simply an advisory letter, which is to say, okay, maybe next time you can do a little bit better. And so our job is to try to, weed out those that cannot or will not comply with Ohio law. And so in doing that, that is protecting each and every Ohioan and the consumer out there.
Can you talk a bit about why real estate is a licensed profession and the benefit to Ohioans of working with one?
Well, one of the reasons that people need to be licensed is they need a lot of, agents need a lot of education in order to obtain a license. And so there are lots of classes about real estate law, about real estate appraisal, about real estate ethics and things like that agents have to sit through a lot of classes in order to take their test. And by the way, it's a very difficult test. A lot of people don't pass their first time through. And there's a national portion and then there's an Ohio portion. And so we need agents who are very familiar with Ohio law specifically, as well as the canons of ethics and those types of things. And Allie, did you want to add anything about that?
Well, yeah, you had mentioned some of the designations and certifications that you had taught, and that's something that we take after. So some of the courses that we can take after these pre-licensing courses. So education is kind of important for all of our realtors to continue throughout their careers. So we've got very strict pre-licensing that is required. We've got continuing education that is required of all of our agents and all of our licensees. And then our realtor members can also choose to get realtor designations. And I think one of the other things that Daphne and I connected on is the fact that I also teach a lot of those certifications and designations. And we're both really very strong proponents of the more education that you can get, the better. And I believe that working with a licensed professional who continues to encourage education in their business, who continues to educate themselves on everything that's going on in the market and everything that's going on in the industry is so important for the consumer, and it just protects them.
Thanks for listening to Protecting What Matters from the Ohio Department of Commerce. We are your resource for all safety information for your home or business. Here's a quick safety message reminder from the Ohio State Fire Marshal's office.
So smoke alarms, we want to make sure we're putting those on each level of the house. Each bedroom that you're at, where anybody sleeps, put that inside that bedroom, and then outside where the people sleep. They're important because what you typically have is that early activation, early notification of something happening, in this case smoke building up, and that usually is what tells you that there's a fire happening. So having those placed in those locations that are appropriate, making sure that you're checking the alarms themselves about once a month just to make sure that they're working, change the batteries on them, we like to say twice a year right now, and then after 10 years, those entire alarms are going to need replaced.
For more information on the State Fire Marshal, visit our website at com.ohio.gov/fire. And be sure to check out some of our previous podcast episodes on all podcast platforms.
Are you looking to buy or sell a property in Ohio? Make sure to enlist the help of a trusted Ohio Realtor. With a dedicated team of experienced professionals, we are here to guide you through every step of the process. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or an experienced investor, we have the expertise to help you find the perfect property for your real estate needs. Ohio Realtors adhere to strict ethical standards, ensuring that your interests are protected and your transactions are handled professionally. Contact us today at ohiorealtors.org and let us help make your move a smooth one. Ohio Realtors will get you there.
Welcome back to Protecting What Matters. We're talking about real estate in Ohio with Allie Whitley, President-elect at Ohio Realtors, and Daphne Hawk, Superintendent of the Division of Real Estate and Professional Licensing within the Ohio Department of Commerce. Allie, I understand that June is National Home Ownership Month. Why is it important for the profession to acknowledge home ownership in this way?
Well, yes, June is National Home Ownership Month, and this is the month where we highlight all of the important features of home ownership and the fact that we as realtors can advocate for homeowners. But I like to say that we should really celebrate home ownership every month of the year, and I certainly do. Every time I give a new buyer a key or help a seller, move from the home that they're in, we're always supporting and encouraging and celebrating home ownership.
I think we all know that the housing market was incredibly competitive during COVID-19 pandemic, with headlines about houses selling very quickly, sometimes in a matter of days. What is your take on the housing market today?
Yeah, we are still seeing that. The market is incredibly competitive, and in many neighborhoods in many areas, it continues to be as competitive as it was, a year or two ago. So what that means is that for buyers, you need to make sure that you have a strong realtor advocate. You need to make sure that you are very knowledgeable before you go into the process of a purchase. So making sure that you have a buyer consultation with an agent so that you know what your steps are before you walk into that house that you fall in love with. Because we want to make sure that you're fully prepared to be able to make that next step. For sellers, understand that yes, it is what they say, a seller's market. However, that doesn't mean that we don't have to focus on the proper pricing of your home. We need to make sure that you're in the range that your home should sell for. We need to make sure that you're marketing it in an appropriate way so that you can continue to get that competition and that activity. So I would say that as long as you find someone who is well prepared and well educated to be your advocate in a realtor transaction, a real estate transaction, then you're going to be set, and you can move forward and have a successful situation.
And Daphne, while we're a bit removed from the pandemic highs, the market remains very competitive, especially in certain areas of the state. What would you say to an individual buyer or seller who is questioning whether they need to enlist the help of a realtor?
Well, first of all, buyers, it's very difficult for them to get into a property without having an agent. That's the first thing, but they need to know that the listing agent represents the seller, so that it's really in their best interest to choose a buyer's agent. As Allie mentioned, have a buyer's consultation, where you're talking about your needs and your wants and talking about financing options and things like that. We're moving into a new and different market where interest rates are rising, and so we may need to have you need to have an agent who has knowledge of the different financing options that are available to them. With regard to sellers, for sale by owners, studies have shown that sellers leave a lot of money on the table. They end up netting less than what they would have if they'd have used a realtor and paid a commission. They end up walking away with less money. So it's really in their best interest, just financially, to have representation. But then also, there are so many snags along the way that can happen that you need an agent, because agents do this each and every month, right? And so we deal with, I still identify as a realtor even after all these years, but I'm inactive as superintendent. But agents do these transactions each and every month, and so they know the problems that arise from a home inspection. They know that the problems that may arise from financing. And so it's important to have somebody walk alongside you throughout this entire process so that you don't end up in some kind of legal snag that you can't get out of.
And what's great is when you sit down to have that initial consultation, whether it's the buyer consultation, the seller consultation, a good advocate for you is going to help you make a strategy, because it's not one size fits all, and not every single seller needs the same thing. Not every single buyer is looking for the same thing. So we sit down and we create a specific strategy for you to be able to move through this process. And sometimes you're buying and selling at the same time. What does that look like in this particular market? And so I think it's really important that you partner with your realtor, that you partner with your agent, so that you can have a successful transaction.
It's your money, come and claim it. The Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Unclaimed Funds is currently safeguarding more than $3 billion in unclaimed funds. So there's a good chance you or someone you know has money waiting to be claimed. Just head over to our website, unclaimedfunds.ohio.gov, to search your name, the name of a family member, or a loved one to see if you have an unclaimed fund.
Thank you for listening to Protecting What Matters from the Ohio Department of Commerce. And we hope you'll check out our summer safety episode, where we take on all things grilling, camping, and outdoor related.
When we're doing grilling and we're outside and just generally enjoying being out and about, the best thing to do is to make sure you're keeping yourself safe, keeping your family safe, friends safe. And ways to do that is to make sure you're keeping that grill away from anything that can burn. So we want to keep it about 10 feet away from houses or any other structure. And it's just one of those common sense things that we take for granted. I don't know how many times that I, as a firefighter, have come up on a house where somebody's melted their siding because they left their grill right up against the side of that house, and they just opened up their lid and they had a little bit of flame coming out, and it overheated and melted that siding.
For more summer safety tips, check out com.ohio.gov/fire.
Welcome back to Protecting What Matters. We're talking about real estate and the realtor profession with Allie Whitley, President-elect of Ohio Realtors, and Daphne Hawk, Superintendent at the Division of Real Estate and Professional Licensing at the Ohio Department of Commerce. Allie, tell me about this new campaign from Ohio Realtors. What is the organization hoping to communicate to Ohioans?
Well, our new campaign is the We'll Get You There campaign. And what we're trying to communicate is the importance of the realtor and their activities in the community. We live in our communities, we love our communities, we patronize the businesses in our communities, and we are advocates for our communities as well as the consumers in our communities. So the We'll Get You There campaign says that if you're a buyer, what would you like in a home? We will get you there. If you are a business owner and you need to get a business in that community, we can open that door for you. How can we get you there? And it just highlights the activities of realtors in their community and how we can help homeowners achieve their goals.
And to clarify, does this apply to not just residential but also commercial real estate market?
Well, I think it really does, because we as Ohio Realtors are advocates for both realtors, residential realtors, as well as commercial realtors, and a strong community, a strong neighborhood, strong areas help commercial real estate as well, because those homeowners are going to want to patronize the businesses in the area. They're going to use the local businesses there. And so yeah, absolutely, it affects both the commercial and the residential arenas.
And let's say we have a listener here that is thinking about either buying or selling a property. Where can they go to learn more about the process and to find a realtor in their community?
Well, on our website, the Ohio Realtors website, we have a consumer tab. They can go to the consumer tab, and right at the top in the first paragraph, they will see a Find a Realtor button. And if they click on that link, it's going to take them to the National Association of Realtors, where they can identify a neighborhood, the city, the state that they're looking for a realtor in, and it can even drill down to the realtor's specializations. So just like as we talked about certifications or designations, they can decide, I need someone who is an accredited buyer representative, someone who works really well with buyers, or someone who is a senior real estate specialist. You can put that designation in, you can find the realtor in your community that may be able to help you, and check them out. Interview those realtors, call someone and make sure that you have an advocate.
That's a great idea. And another thing that I think of, because this happened to be my niche market when I was an active realtor, was I specialized in helping people with disabilities. And so that may be something else that people may want to ask questions about. Are you familiar with, handicap accommodations or that sort of thing? Does someone have the experience to do that? Because everybody has different needs, right? And sometimes people, with disabilities have a little bit more challenge than the average buyer. So they may need someone who specializes in that.
Yeah, and it's important to talk to a few realtors. If you're just getting into the market and you have not yet met the person that you want to work with you, different people have different specialties and different experiences in their business. And so having a conversation, just interview them a bit and find out if this is a match for you. And just as Daphne mentioned, someone may have a different specialty that you need. That's the person that you need to go with.
And Daphne, what other resources does the department offer for listeners?
Well, we have on our website a couple things. Number one, we have a buyer and seller handbook there that may be helpful to them. And also, listeners are able to go to our website and look up to see if a person is licensed. So they can go to com.ohio.gov/real, as in real estate, and they'll choose license information lookup. And then when they do that, they'll just type in the person's name and the submit button, and the results will show the person's license status. And hopefully that'll say active if you're looking for somebody. And if they have any other questions, they can feel free to contact the division for any specifics that they may need.
And in closing for you both, what advice do you have for our listeners who might be considering a career in residential or commercial real estate?
Well, I say absolutely go for it. This is a fantastic career. Truly the sky's the limit. And when I say that, I don't mean that it's without work. It's not without hard work. We do work hard so that we can make sure that we're advocating for our clients. But that being said, you can tailor this business to whatever you need it to be, and that's what I love so much about it. You can work with buyers, you can work with sellers, you can teach new agents to be better in their industry. And we can do things like advocate for consumers and make sure that we're talking to our legislators about home ownership and advocating for those that need to live and work in our communities. So I think there's just so much that can be done. Work hard, and sky's the limit.
I would agree with that, and I find it interesting. Our paths are very similar. That having a small child at home was the main reason why I sought out to work in the field of real estate as well. I had an 8-to-5 job, and it took me away from my child the entire time. Now she's 28, so time flies by. But it was a great opportunity for me to be able to be at those important events for my children, but then also have a career and be able to be in my community and work in my community. And a lot of times the new agents, they come on and they go, well, where do I get business? And my question to them was always, well, where do you hang out? What do you do? What are you involved in? Where is your church? What volunteer opportunities do you have? So you'd be surprised how many active realtors there are that are involved in volunteer opportunities in their community and things like that. The person holding the door for you at school may be a realtor. There's just a lot of different things that they do, and I think that it's a very rewarding career for both men and women, regardless of your family status. It has a lot of great opportunities.
It is, and I think one of the other great things about it is that it can bend and change with your lifestyle. So, you starting a business with young family and wanting to be at soccer games and you do those types of things, and as they grow and now they're graduating high school and college and 28 years old, right? We can bend this career to our lifestyle as well. So it works for us personally. We're able to work hard for the consumers out there and our clients. And I do think it's just really rewarding. It's just so cool to give someone those brand new, new keys when they're walking into their first house or, to help someone through a problem. I think it's great.
Well, that's all we have for this edition of Protecting What Matters. You can find more information about real estate licensing and tips for consumers at the department's website at com.ohio.gov/real, REAL. Thanks for listening.